Incredible moment, little girl's silent signal revealed amazing bond as police dog stood firm, in the heart of Rosedale, New Jersey, a spark ignited an extraordinary moment that no one could have anticipated. 9-year-old Emma, with her wild curls and adventurous spirit, played in the park, her laughter ringing like music. But it wasn't just the joyful sounds that captured attention, it was Max, the spirited German shepherd from the local police department, who sat at her side like a guardian angel. Their bond was unbreakable, forged in silent signals and playful afternoons. Amid a backdrop of uncertainty, where her father's recent job loss loomed large, Emma found a bright spot in her friendship with the four-legged officer who listened without judgment. Each afternoon, while her parents grappled with worry, Emma transported herself to fantastic worlds. With Max, she enacted epic rescue missions and secret code discussions, their connection deepening with unspoken promises. Weekends were spent in the backyard, where they practiced their signals, a flick of her hand or a soft whistle. The world around her felt heavy, but in those moments, there was only Emma and Max, their spirits soaring high. That evening, the neighborhood gathered for a community watch event, an effort to strengthen the bond between families and police. The air buzzed with uneasy hope and tension as neighbors began sharing stories. Emma sat cross-legged on the grass, Max beside her. Her father lingered nearby, his expression weighed down by the strains of lost employment and financial burdens. Whispers rippled through the crowd, worries about safety mingled with unresolved grievances that stretched back years. As voices began to rise between two feuding neighbors over a barking dog, chaos hung like a thick fog. Emma's heart raced as her usual flight of imagination dimmed, swallowed by the palpable tension. It was then, in that moment of uncertainty, she instinctively raised her hand. This was their signal, the same one they had practiced countless times. The crowd paused, staring at the little girl and the powerful dog poised beside her. With a confident bark, Max stepped forward, his warm, loyal presence instantly calming the stormy air. The moment felt surreal. Time seemed to freeze as he positioned himself between the men, watching them with wise, understanding eyes. A murmur swept through the crowd. Her father looked on, torn between his instinct to protect their family and the pull of community ties. Emma knew this was her moment to shine, the flicker of hope amidst fractured nerves. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Emma's expression mirrored her father's silent plea as she chewed her lip, her small hand trembling but held high. Inside, her childish heart wrestled with the burden of the moment. In the charged atmosphere, she felt the burden of expectation, of unity and understanding. Would her father recognize the connection she shared with Max? Would he see the hope shining through the cracks of their troubled lives? As the argument reached its crescendo, Max's bark snapped everyone back to reality, a powerful reminder of loyalty and trust, and how desperately they needed it. In that instant, amidst the chaos of judgment and misunderstanding, Emma realized that maybe, just maybe, they all needed to find ways to come together instead of tearing apart. With a heavy heart, she watched as the fragile threads of community strained to form the tapestry of what they could become. The dog stood firm, and Emma couldn't help but wonder whether any of this could pave a newfound path, a glimmer of belonging amid their shared struggles. Just as the tension began to ebb, Max remained steadfast, an unwavering pillar against the rising tide of discord. He barked again, but this time it was softer, more a plea for peace than a call to arms. Emma felt her heart swell with pride. Max was more than a dog, he was the bridge built on love and understanding, a living testament to what it meant to stand firm in the face of adversity. The crowd, still caught in the throes of their argument, began to notice Max slowly, faces turned from anger to curiosity. Emma could see the frowns beginning to soften. It was as if Max knew exactly what to do. With a gentle nudge from his nose, he poked at the nearest man, drawing attention away from the heated exchange. The man looked down, surprised, and for a brief second, his expression faltered. "Maybe we should all just take a breath," a woman from the crowd suggested, her voice cutting through the tension like a lifeline. "This little girl and her dog are right, we need to remember what matters. We can solve this together." Emma's father shifted, the weight on his shoulders seeming a little less heavy as that flicker of community spirit ignited. He scanned the crowd, his gaze landing on Emma, whose face lit up like a beacon. She could feel the charge in the air, the strange but lovely realization that maybe this would end on a note of hope. "But how do we do that?" Another voice chimed in, uncertainty still lacing the question. Max responded with a playful wag of his tail and a lopsided grin, as if to say, "Let us remember that we're all in this together." Emma giggled despite herself. It was just like their adventures in the backyard. Taking a moment to unite rather than divide can create magic. With that spark, a discussion began to unravel among the residents. People began to share their stories, not just of conflict, but of togetherness. A man talked about the time a neighbor offered to keep an eye on his house while he was away. Another shared how the community had come together when a family faced a sudden crisis. Emma listened, her heart beating steadily in rhythm with renewed hope. It was as if Max's presence had roused a sleeping giant. Empathy and camaraderie began to bloom while misunderstandings were peeled away. Max, sensing that a change was underway, pranced around, inviting every hesitant participant of that tense standoff to join in. He was a charmer, and laughter soon filled the evening air. Emma was beaming now. She glanced at her father, who smiled back, the lines of worry on his face beginning to fade. It felt monumental. For the first time in weeks, it seemed they might just be okay. As the night wore on and connections were made, Emma couldn't shake the feeling that something was shifting within the whole community. The warmth of shared struggles mingled with a desire for hope, and she could see glimmers of change lighting up the facades of hesitant hearts. Yet, even in that moment of unity, Emma felt a strange, persistent pull at her heart. It was like a whisper in her mind, hinting that this was only the beginning. What would tomorrow bring? Would the newfound spirit hold as they faced the challenges ahead? As she and Max shared a contented glance, a subtle thrill of anticipation coursed through her. Tomorrow wasn't just another day to be faced, it was a canvas waiting to be painted with their stories. What if something or someone tested that bond? With her father standing close, the air surrounding them filled with possibility, Emma couldn't ignore the thought that lingered: who else might need them tomorrow? The sun began to rise, spilling golden light across Emma's neighborhood. The calmness of early morning felt like a blanket of promise, wrapping around her as she stretched and yawned. Today would be a new chapter, and she could hardly sleep with anticipation. Max woke up beside her, stretching his wiry body and shaking off any remnants of sleep. His tail wagged with excitement, mirroring Emma's own bubbling energy. As they moved about the house, the air was thick with the scent of breakfast bacon sizzling on the stove, the aroma drifting through the open window like an invitation to the day ahead. "Hey, Max. Ready for an adventure?" Emma asked, her voice bright. She grabbed his leash, and he barked in response, a joyful sound that made her giggle. Together, they raced out of the house, stepping into the warmth of the day. The sidewalk sparkled with dew, and every flower that bloomed seemed to nod in agreement with their cheerful hearts, but as they wandered through the familiar streets, Emma sensed something was off. Instead of the usual smiles and waves from the neighbors, she noticed furrowed brows and hushed conversations. It was like walking through a cloud of uncertainty. People exchanged glances, their chatter eclipsed by a low hum of worry that felt foreign to her. She stopped at the park, where a group of kids usually played games or rode bikes. Today, they stood together, huddled in a tight knot, whispering. Emma approached, curiosity igniting her spirit. "Hey, what is going on?" she asked, kneeling to be at eye level with a girl named Lily. "There's talk about a dangerous dog wandering nearby," Lily replied, glancing behind her. "Some people are scared." Emma's heart sank. But what if it's lost? She wondered aloud. Max, sensing her concern, gave a low bark, as if taking on the duty of protector. What if we could help? Emma continued, her voice gaining strength. Max and I can look for it. Maybe it just needs help finding its way home. Some of the kids exchanged doubtful looks. They didn't understand the kind of bravery Max had inspired in Emma. What if he's mean? A boy piped up. He won't be mean, Emma insisted, the familiar spark of determination igniting in her chest. Max knows how to talk to dogs. We'll find it together. Max wagged his tail enthusiastically, as if to bolster her hope. Right then, a voice echoed from the side. It was Emma's dad. He had come searching for her and stopped at the sight of her rallying the kids. What's happening here? He asked, his tone shifting from concern to curiosity. We want to go help the lost dog. Emma exclaimed, excitement radiating from her. Her father looked thoughtful. He knelt down beside Emma and looked her in the eye. You know it might be dangerous, right? But we can't just leave it out there alone. Emma argued, her voice steady. Max can help. A moment passed, and Emma could see the wheels turning in her father's mind. Finally, he let out a sigh. Okay. But we have to stick together. With renewed purpose, they set off down the street, the kids trailing behind them, some hesitantly and some with a spark of courage ignited by Emma's determination. As they walked, Emma felt a surge of excitement mixed with trepidation. Whatever lay ahead, it felt monumental. They were actively creating change, as they would forge ahead with newfound momentum. But as they reached the edge of the neighborhood, Emma caught the glimmer of something moving in the distance, a shadow darting between trees. Was it the dog? Her heart raced. Max, stay close. She called, gripping the leash tighter. What awaited them just around the corner could either strengthen their bond or unravel everything they had worked for. Emma's heart hammered in her chest as they stepped closer. What would they find waiting for them in the unknown? The shadow flickered again, dancing along the edge of the trees, and Emma's breath caught in her throat. Max turned his head, ears perked up. He seemed to sense something she couldn't quite grasp. Was it fear? Excitement? The possibilities raced through Emma's mind, a swirl of emotions. Do you see it? She asked the kids trailing behind her, but their faces were a mix of uncertainty and apprehension. Many had stopped in their tracks, clutching each other's arms, as if the very act of stepping forward was an invitation to danger. Emma took a deep breath, shaking her head to clear it. She had to remain calm. Simon. She urged, voice steady despite the butterflies in her stomach. We're not going to let fear win. Max needs to help. We all need to help. With Max by her side, Emma pressed on. Each step felt like a small victory, a challenge to the uncertainty that loomed around them. The group finally began to move again, following her lead, inching toward the thick cluster of bushes where the shadow had faded. Suddenly, Max stopped. His body tensed and his nose quivered, eager yet cautious. The kids fell silent as all eyes locked on him. Emma knelt next to him, stroking his back gently, whispering encouragement. You've got this, buddy. Let us show everyone how brave you are. Just then, a low whine echoed from the direction they were heading. It sounded distressed, filled with loneliness. Emma's heart raced again, but this time it was driven by a sense of purpose. Stay here, she instructed her friends as she and Max stealthily approached the source of the sound. They moved closer until they found a faint path leading deeper into the woods. Behind a fallen tree trunk, Emma could make out a shape in the shadows. The creature sat, ears pinned back, eyes wide and frightened. It was a dog, its fur matted and dirty, trembling as it watched them. Max took a step forward, his tail wagging ever so slightly. Emma held her breath, willing the stray to feel the warmth radiating from her dog. It's okay, she cooed softly, crouching down. We're not here to hurt you. We just want to help. The lost dog looked straight at her, fear battling hunger in its eyes. Emma noticed its ribs showing, a clear sign that it hadn't eaten in days. "Max," she whispered urgently, "show him that we're friends." With a gentle nudge, Max trotted closer, lowering himself, instinctively easing the tension. He let out a soft bark, the kind that seemed to say, "You're safe now." Emma could see a flicker of hope cross the lost dog's face. Encouraged, Emma reached into her pocket and pulled out a piece of the cookie she had saved from breakfast. "Here, boy," she called softly, extending her hand. The stray hesitated before inching forward, driven by hunger and curiosity. As the stray sniffed the cookie, something extraordinary happened. It took a tentative step closer to Emma, its body slowly relaxing. Emma's heart soared. She felt an indescribable connection, as if they shared a silent language that transcended fear and mistrust. "See?" Emma beamed at the watching kids. "He just needed a friend." Moments passed, and just as she began to feel the bond strengthen, a shadow loomed behind her. Emma's breath hitched as she turned, finding a tall figure emerging from the trees. It was a park ranger, his expression a mix of concern and authority. "Is everything okay here?" he asked, his voice low but firm. Emma felt a mix of urgency and fear. Would he understand? Would he see the connection between her and the lost dog? "I'm trying to help him," she called out, tears brimming as she held her trembling palms out to the stray. "He is scared and lost." The ranger's eyes softened but remained serious. Emma could sense the tension in the air. What would happen next? Would they all be driven apart again? The stray barely moved, eyes flickering between the ranger and Max. Emma needed to prove this wasn't just another ordinary day. As the ranger stepped closer, ready to intervene, Max stepped forward, embodying the bridge between fear and hope. Would he bring the very protection they needed? Or would the moments slip through their fingers, leaving them in uncertainty once again? Emma's heart raced. The park ranger loomed before her like a wall, firm and unyielding. She could feel the tension in the air, a thick pulse of anxiety that made it hard to breathe. The stray dog glanced back and forth between her and the ranger, caught in confusion. "Please," Emma pleaded, her voice quivering. "He needs help. I just want to take him home." The words tumbled out of her mouth, raw and desperate. The ranger paused, studying her face. Emma felt her heartbeat echo in her ears. This moment felt monumental. It was more than just saving a dog. It was about forging connections, about kindness triumphing over fear. As if sensing Emma's intensity, Max stepped closer to her side, his gentle presence a reassuring weight. He turned to the stray, a soft whine escaping him, almost like he was saying, "Hang in there." Emma felt a swell of appreciation for her dog, his bravery making her feel stronger. "Listen," the ranger said after a long moment, his expression softening. "I understand you want to help, but we have to do this the right way." Emma nodded, swallowing hard, trying to maintain her composure. "But this dog is scared and alone. He needs someone. Can't you see that?" "Of course I can," the ranger replied, his voice calming. "I admire your compassion. But bringing him back means checking if he has an owner. We can't just take him without knowing." Emma's heart sank. She didn't want to think of the dog going back to an uncertain fate, possibly being abandoned again. She stepped forward, her determination swelling. "I promise I will help. We can all help. Think about how lonely he must feel right now." The ranger studied her, a flicker of recognition flashing in his eyes. The stray took a half-step toward Max, and Emma felt the connection between them deepen. Maybe they could bridge the gap together. "Okay," the ranger said slowly. "But under one condition, we need to take him back to the station first. They'll check for a microchip. If he doesn't have one, then we can talk about fostering him." Emma's heart surged at the word fostering. It felt like hope flickering in the darkness. "Thank you." she exclaimed, tears pooling in her eyes. "Thank you so much." "Let us take it slow," the ranger waved, motioning for them to follow. Emma felt the relief wash over her, but her gaze remained on the stray. Max wagged his tail, nudging the lost dog gently, coaxing him to join them. As they walked, Emma sensed a new bond forming. The other kids trailed behind, their fear easing as they witnessed this small miracle unfold. "See?" she whispered to them, smiling brightly. "Just like Max, this dog has a story to tell. We're going to be part of it." The stray hesitated at first, but slowly, it licked Max's face, an expression of gratitude and trust blooming in those few connecting moments. Emma knew this was the beginning, not just of a rescue, but of something greater, a partnership, a family. But just as hope bloomed, the ranger's radio crackled to life, breaking the tender moment. "All units, we have a report of an animal in distress at the lake," the voice crackled. Emma's heart dropped. What if, she started, glancing at Max. What if there's another dog that needs help? Then we help it. The ranger's tone was filled with resolve. "But first, we need to take care of this one." Emma nodded, determination rekindled. There was work to be done, and she wouldn't back down now. "Let us do it then," she said, steadying her nerves. As they moved closer to the ranger's truck, Emma's pulse quickened with a new sense of urgency. Would they be able to save even more dogs today? Would their bond continue to grow, not just for the stray, but for everyone involved? The adventure wasn't over yet. It was only just beginning. The truck loomed ahead, a reminder of the job that lay before them. As they approached, Emma could feel every heartbeat. The stray dog, now trailing closely behind her and Max, seemed to sense her anxiety. It mirrored her emotional state, moving like a gentle shadow, taking cautious steps as if it understood that they were all in this together. "Come on, buddy," Emma whispered to the stray. "We're almost there." She reached out a hand, letting him sniff her fingers. There was an unexpected warmth as he nudged against her touch. The ranger climbed into the driver's seat and opened the door for Emma, but she hesitated. With everyone now gathered around, she looked back at the other kids, their hopeful faces reflecting her own insecurities. What if he is scared in there? What if he doesn't understand? "Dogs sense feelings," the ranger said, his voice steady. "You'll be surprised how they react to kindness." He gave her an encouraging nod, and Emma felt a little more confident. As she climbed into the truck, the stray hesitated at the foot of the steps. Max padded in first, offering a confidently wagging tail that seemed to say, "You've got this." The stray perked up at his playful energy, stepping forward into the vehicle at last. Emma's smile widened as he settled next to Max. "Okay, let us head to the station," the ranger said while starting the engine. The truck roared to life, and Emma felt the vibrations beneath her. It felt like a heartbeat, matching the rhythm of her hope as they drove away from the park. But as they approached the station, the radio crackled again. "All units, we have a situation at the lake, reports of a young girl in distress." Emma's stomach dropped. "Oh no," she murmured. She looked to the ranger, whose jaw had tensed at the news. "What if she needs help? Like the dogs?" "I have to respond," the ranger said, the weight of duty settling over him like a heavy cloak. "But if you want to wait here, I can know." Emma interrupted, urgency coursing through her veins. "I want to go. We all have to help. If there is someone in trouble, we're not backing down." The ranger met her gaze, surprise mingling with admiration. "All right then," he said firmly. "But stay close to me." He swung the truck to the side of the road, parking in a flurry of gravel. Emma and the kids hopped out, each of them feeling the electric charge of adventure racing through their bodies. Max growled softly, his instincts kicking in, as they moved toward the lake. It was a vibrant summer day, but the sunlight felt heavy on Emma's heart, the thought of a girl in distress clouding the blue sky above them. "Emma, what can we do? One of the other kids asked, worry etched across his face. Stay calm, she said, her voice steady suddenly, despite her pounding heart. We're there to support each other. Just like Max supports this stray. Emma reached down to pet the dog, now at her side, feeling strengthened by its warm presence. As they drew nearer, she spotted the glimmer of a pink life jacket bobbing in the water. The urgency intensified in her chest. Help! Came a small, faint cry, barely audible above the splashing sounds. Emma's pulse raced. What if they couldn't reach her in time? Emma didn't hesitate. Let us go. We can't waste another second. She sprinted towards the lake, leading the way, Max and the stray right beside her, but as they neared the water's edge, a startling twist of fate awaited them. Emma dove toward the water, her heart hammering with each stride. Max matched her speed, his alert presence radiating confidence. The stray, now firmly at her side, seemed to sense the urgency, its gentle eyes wide as it followed Emma's lead. Keep an eye out. The ranger shouted. We need to be careful. The lake shimmered under the sun, but it wasn't a peaceful sight anymore. The pink life jacket bobbed further from shore, and Emma could see the faint outlines of a girl struggling against the currents. Panic gripped her. We have to move faster. She called out. Emma, wait, the ranger said, his voice urgent yet steady. We need a plan. We can't just swim out there. A surge of defiance sparked within her. But we can't just do nothing. Emma felt a fire inside her. She glanced back at the other kids, and even amidst the turmoil, she could see the determination in their faces. What if we form a chain? One of the kids suggested. We can hold on to each other while someone goes in. Good idea. Emma exclaimed. Let us do it. They quickly linked arms, forming a human chain, all the while keeping their eyes on the lake. The ranger stood in the middle, his deep breath steadying them. If you feel scared, focus on your friends. We're all in this together. With a deep inhale, Emma stepped forward. I'm going in. No, let me. Max barked, barking and running ahead, while the stray watched, unsure but instinctively wanting to help. The ranger nodded. All right, Max, we trust you, he said. The imposing wave energy made it tough to see clearly, but Emma sensed the fear and desperation from the girl in the water, her movements frantic as she struggled against the pulling tide. Her heart ached. Was she even able to hold on? Hang on. Emma shouted, urging Max onward. The police dog charged into the water, muscles rippling beneath his fur, moving with fierce determination. Emma followed, the chilly water hitting her legs like sharp needles. She felt a sudden rush of clarity. The stray dog, curious as ever, took hesitant steps into the water after her. No! Stay back! Emma yelled, a wave of concern washing over her. But he seemed to know their shared purpose, the will to help, a reflection of all that Emma felt. Max! Use your nose! The ranger called, guiding the dog's instincts. Max leaped eagerly, using every skill he had to maneuver closer to the girl. Another cry broke through the chaos. Help! I can't swim. It was the girl's voice, stronger yet tinged with terror, puncturing the air like a siren. Just then, the stray lunged forward, as if knowing it could help. Emma watched, heart pounding. This stray, the one they had rescued moments before, was now part of something bigger than himself. She held on to that thought, anchoring her own fear. Keep reaching. Emma urged her chain, not daring to lose their grip. She could see Max closing the distance, the hum of the water behind him muffling the world. But the lake twisted and shifted, the danger still present. Every second mattered. Almost there. The ranger shouted encouragement, but Emma felt the pressure grow. It was a fragile balance between hope and despair. Hope flashed in her heart, though. They weren't alone. They were stronger together. Just then, Emma locked eyes with Max, who seemed to understand everything. Suddenly, an unexpected glint caught her eye, a reflection of something in the water, the brush of movement. Was it a hand? Tension coiled tighter in Emma's chest. "Can you see her?" she yelled. "Not yet." The ranger shouted back, but he was out of breath, battling the water behind them. Emma focused, reaching for the water with everything she had. "We have to make it work." But just then, the stray, seemingly realizing the stakes, took off and leaped into the water, his instincts guiding him toward the girl. Did it know something they didn't? In that moment, as everything seemed to hang in the balance, a harrowing realization broke through Emma's fears. They were all in this together, and maybe the true connection would reveal itself just when they needed it most. Would this stray lead them to the girl? Or were they running out of time? Emma's heart raced as she watched the stray plunge into the lake, its wet fur glistening in the sunlight. Her instincts screamed for her to follow, but she remained anchored to the human chain they had created. Behind her, the other kids squeezed her arms tighter, a silent pact of solidarity against the mounting dread. Max was making headway. She could see him, his powerful strokes cutting through the water. In that moment, everything faded: her fear, the cold, the chaos of the lake, as hope flared within her. "Come on, Max!" she shouted, her voice slicing through the tension. She fought to stay focused on the girl, whose outline was becoming clearer. Emma instinctively felt helplessness wash over her again. Would they make it in time? The stray moved with purpose, its small body pushing against the current, an unexpected hero. Emma shivered, a mix of awe and pride filling her. Could this little dog really help? She felt a rush of gratitude. They had all come together for a reason. "Max's instincts are sharper than any of us," the ranger yelled, his voice working hard to penetrate the waves. "Trust him." As Max approached, Emma saw the girl thrashing more violently, her limbs flailing, battling against the vastness of the lake. "Just hold on," Emma shouted, wishing she could reach her, wrap her arms around her and pull her to safety. With a sudden surge of energy, the stray paddled closer to the girl. Emma held her breath, the world narrowing down to just those moments: the frantic dog, the struggling girl, and the water that swirled around them like a tempest. "Almost there." The ranger called out again, but the fear on his face reflected her own. Then, something miraculous happened. The stray reached the girl, nudging her gently with its nose. Emma's heart soared, excitement bubbling up as she watched the girl latch onto the dog's collar. "You can do it!" Emma yelled, urging the girl on. Max barked, as if to encourage them, and slowly they began to drift back, the stray showing her the way. Emma felt the pressure around her chest release. The chain was still strong behind her, each kid's grip reminding her they were fighting this together. "Keep pulling!" Emma yelled, her voice fierce with determination, and in response, the kids strained against the water, their arms locked like iron. Max swam closer, now circling the girl and the stray, ready to lead them back to safety. Emma marveled at the teamwork unfolding before her eyes, a strange intermingling of energies, the sense of trust that echoed between beasts and humans alike. But suddenly, the stray yelped, a small yip that made Emma's heart drop. Was the weight of the girl too much for it? "Don't give up," she encouraged, although fear crept back in. "Max! Get her!" the ranger directed, his urgency igniting her own fear, and Emma could see the dog responding to the call as if understanding every word. In the distance, she could barely glimpse the girl's face, fearful but now trusting. It sparked something in Emma, resilience. It wasn't just Max or the stray, it was all of them, linked together, intertwining their strengths and fighting the battle against despair. As they fought onward, Emma felt the grasp of time tighten like a tightened spring. They were almost there. But would they reach the girl before it was too late? Just then, a sudden crash of waves reverberated through the air. Emma braced, but the ocean wasn't done revealing its challenges. What new danger could emerge now? The moment hung heavy, and she feared the worst. Would their bond hold strong enough to defy the depths of the lake? Or were they about to face an even greater crisis? Just as Emma's heart began to settle into a cautious rhythm, the water stirred violently around them. The sudden crash of waves sent cold splashes up her arms, snapping her back into the moment. She gasped, eyes darting toward the lake's surface, scanning for any signs of danger emerging from the depths. A darker shape broke through the water, colliding with Max. Emma's stomach dropped. It was another large wave, unusually high, seemingly sent to test their courage. "Hold on!" she shouted, rallying her friends as they anchored themselves against the pull of the water. Max seemed momentarily distracted, but the stray dog remained steadfast, nudging the girl closer with each push. Emma felt a flicker of hope as she saw the girl's grip tighten around the collar. This bond was a lifeline. Emma wanted to scream encouragement, but her throat had gone dry. "Get back to shore!" the ranger yelled, authority thundering through the noise. The water's shifting. Emma didn't want to abandon their chain. If they could just hold on a little longer. She felt the weight of her friend's determination behind her, but the stakes were rising with each crashing wave. Could they keep the line steady? Suddenly, Emma noticed the girl's expression change. The fear in her eyes was replaced by something else, an understanding. She pointed toward the shore with her free hand, signaling. The stray must have sensed it too. In that instant, Emma realized they had to move, and move quickly. "Pull!" Emma shouted, her voice filled with renewed energy. "We have to pull her in." They strained, muscles burning, as they focused on moving the girl closer to safety. Just as they did, another wave rolled over, towering ominously, and with it came a rippling undertow that threatened to drag them all down. Emma felt the earth shift beneath her feet, the lake pulling at her like a giant's hand reaching for what it claimed. "Max! Come on!" The ranger's voice was urgent, a command that resonated deep within Emma. Max swam with clarity, a beacon of determination that fought against the chaos. The stray's courage ignited a fire within Emma. She noticed how Max's powerful strokes had now aligned perfectly with the stray's frantic paddling. It was a dance, a rhythm that pulsed with urgency, forming an unbreakable bond, an unspoken agreement that they would not fail. Just then, the girl, with the stray now buoying her up, flicked her gaze to Emma, her expression fierce and resolute. Emma met her eyes, and she could see it not just fear, but a silent challenge that read, "We can do this." And in that moment, Emma understood. They were stronger together. The water crashed once more, but this time, there was something different in the attack. It wasn't despair, there was a surge of hope washing over that wave. Emma, her heart pounding and fueled by this connection, felt strength flood back into her limbs. "Together!" Emma cried, and the sound sliced through the air. They pulled with a renewed focus, their bond unifying into something palpable, something that echoed with the strength of their shared resolve. The girl was almost there, almost safe. Just as they felt the strain of victory, the water roared again, causing a massive surge that threatened to disrupt everything. Emma held her breath, bracing for the unknown. Would this wave prove to be their undoing? What new trials awaited just beneath the surface? The moment hung suspended in time, and Emma's fears returned full force. With the girl so close to safety, could they hold on? What unseen forces were still lurking, waiting to test their newly forged bonds? With every ounce of strength, Emma held tight to her friends, her heart hammering in rhythm with the rising tide. The surge of water crashed around them, pulling at her legs like an angry beast. She turned her gaze back to the girl, clinging desperately to the stray, who now seemed to embody all the courage in the world. The tug of the stream might have threatened to divide them, yet there was an undeniable bond, an unyielding fire burning brightly within their hearts. "Keep going!" Emma shouted, every word fueled by sheer determination. "Just a bit more." Max, still relentless, swam alongside them, training his eyes on the girl while encouraging the stray to push harder. It was an unspoken teamwork, a connection that transcended words. They were united in this life-saving mission. The girl looked back at Emma, her breath ragged, but the fire in her eyes matched Emma's own. It was that look of mutual understanding, no longer mere strangers, but warriors on the same battlefield. As Emma began to pull on her own strength, she felt the girl's fingers softly brush against hers, igniting a spark of unbreakable hope. In that moment, everyone pulled together, the ranger rallying them and the kids reflecting Emma's fierce spirit. With renewed vigor, they pulled. The girl seemed to hear the unyielding chorus of support, her grip on the stray tightening instinctively. It was as if the very essence of their combined strength melded into a force that surged against the mighty waves. Just then, another towering wave crashed down, a manifestation of nature's fury, but this wave didn't knock them backward. Instead, it pushed them forward. With Max forging ahead, the stray leading the girl, and Emma holding the line, they accelerated toward the shore with a ferocity that almost felt supernatural. Almost there. Emma cheered, feeling the energy radiate from her friends like fireworks in July. The surface of the lake splashed with determination, and in that magical instant, they were not just fighting against the current. They were creating a new future, weaving together the threads of bravery and hope. Suddenly, Emma's hand clasped around the girl's wrist, a fleeting moment that felt like destiny. "Pull! Together!" she shouted, the urgency molding into an infectious power. One last determined heave, and the very canvas of the universe shifted. With a gasp, they surged through the water, the stray guiding the girl until her feet finally touched ground. A wave of elation swept through the group, like the crescendo of a long-awaited symphony, and they dragged each other out of the roaring depths, panting, soaked but victorious. The crowd that had stepped back in fear now surged forward with an emotional tide of relief. The ranger rushed forward, taking the trembling girl into his arms, her small frame shaking against his strong chest. Emma watched, heart soaring, tears of joy glistening in her eyes. "You did it! You're safe!" he exclaimed, and for a brief moment, the chaos of earlier was washed away. Max, tail wagging furiously, trotted up alongside Emma, nudging her side as if to say, "Look what we achieved." The stray lingered close by, a new member of this unexpected assembly of hope. The community began to gather, some recording the moments of camaraderie, while others embraced each other, overwhelmed by pride. There were hugs of gratitude, cheers of relief. What began as tension had transformed into a powerful testament of unity. Emma's father approached, pride glimmering in his eyes as he embraced her tightly. "I'm so proud of you, kiddo," he murmured with emotion. The day had been painted with both struggle and triumph, revealing something beautiful. The binding threads of compassion extending throughout the neighborhood had strengthened into a collective family. They had faced fears, reframed misunderstandings into acceptance, and fostered deeper connections with one another and their furry companions. As the sun began to dip, casting a warm golden hue over the weary but grateful faces, Emma realized this wasn't just the end. It was the beginning of. Friendships formed, dog rescues turned into true community heroes, and a shared story that would echo for years to come. With a beaming smile, surrounded by her friends, she took a deep breath, feeling the embrace of hope wrap around her as tightly as the love from her family. The world felt whole, full of bright potential, where she could become a light for others, just like Max had been for her. The last rays of sunlight flickered, igniting the horizon with dreams yet to be realized. Tomorrow wasn't merely another day, it was an invitation to continue writing their incredible story, a story of belonging. Now, dear friends, this is your moment to join the journey. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and ignite the community spirit. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this heartwarming ending. And most importantly, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to support our journey together. Real fans understand the importance of lifting each other up. Let us spread that love.